Start. Yes, good morning. Today we are going to be treating the topic logic. First of all, we're going to look at the definition of logic. After getting the definition, we're going to look at the forms of logic, which are the inductive and the deductive logic. Then thirdly, we're going to be looking at basic concepts in logic, like arguments and propositions. And on the final note, we're going to be looking at what the significance of logic to mankind. So let's look at the definition of logic. Logic is defined as a science of reasoning. Now, why is logic defined as a science of reasoning? It is defined as a science of reasoning because it follows what? The method of what? Scientific processes. And what are some of those scientific processes? First of all, you observe. You observe a problem. After observing the problem, then you conduct what? An hypothesis. Hypothesis is also known as what? An informed guess. From conducting an hypothesis, then you go to the experiment proper, which is also known as a test. Then from whatever experiment you've carried out, the results is what you use in drawing your what? Conclusions. So logic is also a science, but this time around, a science was channeled towards the direction of reasoning. Now, another definition of logic, it is defined as what? A criteria for evaluating arguments. Now, when they say something is a criteria for evaluating arguments, that means it is a tool for giving what? Valid judgment pertaining arguments. Now, in initial definition talked about what? A science of reasoning. So now, if they talk of a criteria for evaluating arguments, that means it goes through what? The same scientific process. And now, after an argument is being laid down, you use these criteria to check if the argument is what? A valid argument or what? An invalid argument. Now, having bear this in mind, another definition says what? Logic is what? A method of reasoning. A method of reasoning. And when you talk of a method, it means a process, how things have been done, how reasoning is being conducted. So logic, the definitions we've given out, the initial one says it is what? A science. And science includes what? A process. As a systematized body of knowledge, it includes what? A process. The second one said it is what? A criteria. That means it is a tool for what? Evaluating arguments. Thirdly, it is a method of reasoning, seeing that what? Logic is what? A tool for man to be able to survive in a society, for man to be able to flow with his other people. He must be able to what? He must have the ability to what? To reason, and not just reason, but reason in a valid way. Having bear this definition in mind, we are going to look at the person called the father of logic is known as what? Aristotle. He is the chief proponent of logic, also known as what? The father of logic. So having known the father of logic, Aristotle, a great philosopher, having bear this in mind, we are going to now go to look at what? The forms of logic. The forms of logic are inductive and deductive logic. Inductive and deductive logic. So now, what is an inductive logic? An inductive logic is that logic that what? Argues from what? A particular premise. From a particular premise to what? A general situation. It argues from a particular premise to what? A general situation. Now, in contrast to the inductive logic. We also have the deductive logic. Why do they call this one the deductive logic? It argues from what? The general situation, from a general situation to a particular premise. Now, both the inductive and deductive logic are all what? Arguments. Now, let's use an example to illustrate and see what inductive logic is all about and what deductive logic is all about. Example of an inductive logic. Someone will say, Jubril is dull. Another, Ayo is dull. We have Obi is dull. Therefore, all boys are dull. Full stop. Now, we talked about inductive logic, particular premise. This is a particular premise. These are what we call premises. And then a general situation is what we refer to as what? The conclusion. They said Jubril is dull. Ayo, another boy, is dull. Obi is dull. And they are all boys. Now, because of all these premises, they now generalize it that anyone who is a boy or all boys in the world are all what? Dull. In contrast to this particular argument, the deductive logic argues from what? A general phenomenon and traces it down to a particular phenomenon. Now let's look at it. A situation may go like for deductive, we may now have all boys are dull. We have Ayo is a boy. Obi is a boy. They can also use Charles is a boy. Therefore, all boys are dull. These are two types of arguments. Now, this one started from what? A general situation that all boys are dull. And now, after going from a general situation, you now start listing them particularly. Ayo is a boy, and Ayo may be a boy you know in class who is not very intelligent, going by the initial situation. Secondly, Obi is another boy you know in the class. It could be that these are the boys in the class. So with all these premises, you can now go to conclude and say that all boys are dull. But it's in contrast to the initial one. This one just came up, Jubril is dull. What is the criteria? It could be true. Ayo is dull. It could be true. Obi is dull. It could be true. But you cannot use, because of these three people, to judge everyone and say everyone is dull. So philosophers or people who deal in logic are against what? The inductive logic. They say the best form of conducting what? An argument. The best form of reasoning is the what? The deductive logic, or what we call the deductive reasoning. Having bear this in mind, we will now move towards some basic concepts in logic.